Hold on, and then go. Now we live.
I really tried to listen to Wayne. I got 6 songs in, and then Bono started doing something, and I was like, wait, and then I called Green like, yo, this album ain't hitting, and it was like 9 a.m. and I
Yeah,
texted him, and he like, the whole album is trash. Whole
I
album
had to
trash.
give it to a real. Like, and you coming from a guy that was breaking down Lil Wayne lyrics like 2 years ago on Instagram, giving him his credit, giving him his flowers for his lyrical capability, and he's still spitting even on this project. These songs are horrible, and this proves what I was talking about last episode. I said this nigga can't write songs. Like, he's not developed as a songwriter. He is the elite spitter. He's not there and having the intuition of this is what a song needs to be now within this atmosphere. This is what a song needs to be that's classic and timeless. He's just very incredible, otherworldly at rapping. He's incredible at putting words together, phrases and punchlines, and that's who he is. But damn, the beats are crazy bad. There's some crazy bad production on this damn thing. You a producer. Tell me what you think of the beats. Did you listen to the whole thing? I know you had to.
I listened to the whole thing until we did it live until YouTube sniped the rest of my stream. I think somebody might have get a heads up. It wasn't a positive review. I went in there with an open mind because my timeline was lighting it up. And usually when that happens, I feel like it's probably bad, but nowhere near as bad as what the exaggeration is. So I just went in there with an open mind. I felt like the first few songs were really promising. I like to hear him on Soul Sample productions. I like the boom bap drums they had in the first. And then it just started getting weird towards the Jelly Roll feature. And a thought came to mind that I saw somebody tweet out. It said, how did he not know 21 Savage wasn't a group, but he knows who Jelly Roll is? He's in his own bubble. I'm in my bubble. I'm just focused and listening just to me. How do you know who the hell Jelly Roll is? And you know enough to utilize him not as a rapper, but as a country singer on the hook. Like, I feel like it's selective aloofness.
Selective aloofness. He hates niggas. That's what it is. He hates niggas. He don't like them. I hate them. They stink. That's Lil Wayne.
Wait, you really think that Wayne is the racist on the low?
I'm just joking, but I do think
race.
He's a I don't see race. He be saying weird stuff
to save my life. Say it in that voice.
That's what I'm talking about. He be talking about there ain't no racism in my world. Like, I'd be like, whoa,
how about this?
Me out, bruh.
In my world, Torre, there's no racism.
In my world,
that's all you gotta do is say it like that. And you're like, ugh.
So, what was the lowest? What was the lowest point of the album for you?
When he started rapping over that Diddy Kong sample.
Was that the Peanuts one? Yeah.
I'm like, because you know what? Ken Green, you know he always has at least one song on there where it's like a really off sounding lead synth sound, but it's heavy drums, and he goes, he kills it, and that's just his. It's like what was the last one? Mamma Mia, Funeral. Like, he always has these ones where he spazzes out on.
Yeah.
But this time it was like, I feel like the people that need to be in the room with Wayne to keep him locked in and focused on a concept, or even to build out a concept like he did on Carter 3 and Carter 4, which he told stories on Carter 3, Carter 4. He gave perspectives of his mom in Carter 3, Carter 4. I feel like whoever those folks are, plus the producers, were giving a lot better direction than they were given, than he was getting, I should say, in this one. It seemed like this one was ran exclusively by Wayne and what he wanted to do, and that did not fare well.
I wonder if that's true, because I feel like I don't know, but I feel like, think about the songs, Mr. Officer or Mrs. Officer, right? Lollipop. These are the hit songs, right? They were part of the time period and made sense with the trends. Now, the things that he's trying, Jelly Roll, stuff like that, obviously someone introduced him to that, correct? Right? Someone introduced him to Jelly Roll, like you said, and he was like, this guy's popping right now, and, you know, country's popping right now. Make a song with him, and that's going to expand your network. That's the same mentality that he had during the feature wave, when he's doing features with freaking 2 Chainz one day, Enrique Iglesias the next day, David Guetta the next day. Like he did features with every type of music ever. So I feel like he's on some Eminem shit where he's trying to expand, but it's like that's not authentic to who we feel you are. You know what I'm saying?
It's not a short album. How many records? It's like an hour of music, right? How many records are on here?
Too many.
Too many.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I stopped probably after 10 records.
Hold on. It's a lot. It's a lot. I can't even count it because it's on Spotify. And surely he made more than this that didn't make the album, right? Because you're always gonna make more than you actually get on there, right? It's surprising to me that as good as Wayne is, the batting average on this is so low. Like I would think, just put a nigga in the studio for a month, he gonna come out with at least one hit. He can't help himself. If it's only one, then it's a slow month. But like, you know, he might come out with 5 because he's freaking an alien. But like 0 is like, wait a minute, you're not at all aligned with yourself or with the culture or with music to come out with 0. Like you know what I mean? Like this guy's been so aligned with who we are, what we want for so long, so many fucking hits, so many incredible fucking bars. For him to miss this badly, it's like, are you off drugs? Are you on drugs? Like something important is missing here.
I'll tell you what it is. He's missing his cultural advisor, Drake.
Are you serious? Are you serious?
He's missing the person that's tapped in, who is stealing. I mean, borrowing from all the different cultures that are out here. You need a colonizing specialist always in your corner, right? You need a colonizing specialist who can tell you, hey, this is what I heard that the streets said. I think this is what they into. Let's take from this and then act like we came up with it. I feel like he needs that in the room, and Nicki wasn't there. I mean, Nicki's gotta bring a lot of cash, a lot of value to the situation. Like none of them was there.
I mean, Green, you're like, okay, he's not a songwriter. Fine, stipulated. But we don't necessarily, like, our love for him is not based on that. Like, Lollipop is cool, but like the mixtape shit, the Millie shit, where he's just fucking spitting. I'm like, I'm here all day for fucking bar Wayne, who's just saying nothing, but the shit is fucking incredible. So I'm kind of thrown off because that's a great critique, but that has nothing to do with the Wayne we have loved. So even
but an album has to have songs on it. Mixtapes, you just rap. The Funeral I like The Funeral. That shit that he dropped, 22, 23? That's a good project. And he's just rapping. He's rapping a lot. And it's about him rapping about rapping and being Lil Wayne. When you start making the Carter series, right? And he had like the song with Jay-Z, using that flip, hey, Mr. Carter, that felt so relevant and timeless, right? Especially at that period. So you have to make songs for an album. But this is the meme. I just want to show y'all. This is my favorite meme about the album. He went to the studio, locked in, and showed everybody what NFL made. That's the funny.
You were absolutely right.
He's like, he said he locked in. Oh, let me lock in.
To your point, this album got me wondering if this is indeed Wayne taking the helm and making most of the decisions. Are the records that are our favorite Wayne records? Were those ever Wayne records, or were they presented to Wayne to just add verses on?
Really?
Mr. Carter, hear me out. I'm gonna make a case for 3 songs. 3 songs, make a case real quick. Go ahead. Dear Mr. Carter already has the concept made in it when a producer picked that sample. Lollipop, a lot of the energy behind that is static, right? Who was the Static Major? But it's not even Mrs. Officer. That's Robbie Thicke giving you the entire concept within that. I feel like every artist is different, and some artists need you to create a world for them to kill it in. I mean, and I wonder if he's creating the worlds, and this is why we get in what feels like a detached mixtape.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm missing your point. When I think about a record like a Millie, some of the records of his that I have loved so much, like I think he can create a world himself. I wonder if this is really about him being old, right?
No,
And like,
you
is it
just
that
proved it
he's-
again.
is
Sorry, you just proved it again. A Millie.
Has a concept in the beat.
Look, that came up with that concept. A Millie. What are you finna talk about?
No, but I don't love that record because of
the beat.
that
Yeah, it's the
hook
writing.
or chorus. The beat is hot, but the beat, the hook or chorus.
But we're talking about concept.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
but I don't love the record because of the concept. I love the record because of what he spits and how he spits it.
Would you still love that record without the Millie sample?
I'm sure I would.
Yeah,
I'm sure I would because I'm loving what.
Well, no, you're separating the two, and you can't. So here's why I mean by that. If I get a beat, which Lil Wayne is great at, because he sharpened this skill by being on so many features. The song's done. I'm gonna tell you as a rapper, and Curtis, you let me know if you agree with this. If you give me a song and the concept's there, I'm fucking that verse up. Because I already have the hardest part is done. You came up with the concept. Now I just have to insert myself within that concept. That's easier. Creating the concept from scratch is the hardest fucking thing in the world. Because you have to actually look in yourself and have something to say. When someone comes up with something to say, and you're like, "Hey, this song is about the civil rights movement." All right, now let me, Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X. You know, you just go. Right. I already know what's good. So that's the difference we're talking about.
I can agree with you 1,000% on that. And to that point about a Millie, what's the first line on a Millie? A millionaire,
young money millionaire,
Nigerian. He literally goes in, and then he goes off on a tangent. This lets you know sort of the kind of randomness that happens with Wayne. Like the things that I love from Wayne in terms of when he's really locked in is his ability to pick all this imagery from all these different places and create these really clever, similes in the process. But he's not talking about anything the same way in this project. He wasn't the same way. He wasn't talking about nothing when he said, asked him how it was about me. I said, I get a lot of money because you get nothing from it. And now bring it back. He ain't like I listened to it, and that's like 17 years apart or 11 years apart. And I'm like, okay, that's part of what we love. But the problem is he's not being surrounded by a strong foundation for us to attach kind of where he's trying to go with this. I think he's one of those artists who are so free they need to be restricted sometimes to really hit it.
And really he would be more great if someone. Here's what Lil Wayne needs to do. All right, Lil Wayne, get Conductor, make an album. Get Alchemist, make an album. Get Tyler the Creator, make an album. That trilogy right there, you are now back on top because you made real projects with someone that's not gonna let you fuck up. Especially someone like Alchemist and Tyler the Creator. They're not gonna let you do something out of the realms of their production.
Is part of the problem that he named it the Carter Six, which set a certain expectation. Because overall, this Carter series has been legendary and iconic throughout hip hop. So would it have been a different conversation with the audience if it had a different name?
There's a reputation that comes with it. That's a brand.
Yeah,
Carter
it's a brand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He doesn't
5,
match the brand at all.
It doesn't. And number 5 was the first time it kind of felt like it's not bad, but it's falling off maybe. So this is his opportunity after doing all of the press about how he was so hurt about not being at the Super Bowl, how he feels like he's earned that. This is the opportunity to be like, well, remind 2025 who Lil Wayne is, that we know him to be, that we've already heard. We weren't. That's why, like, I'm torn between: is this a reaction to not getting the bowl, or was this his album that he planned the whole time? If he thought that he was getting the bowl, because there's so many songs that seem like they were made for sync opportunities, for commercials, for video games. It just as a project, it is so loose and detached.
Wait, hold on. You think that a lot of this was meant for video games, commercials, etc.?
Victory lap. And I think this was his victory lap. I think this project, if he gets the bowl, there's a different lens on this project. I think you look at it and you say, okay, we got the lean era of Lil Wayne in some of the songs. We got the rock era of Lil Wayne. We got some mixtape Wayne. We even got some Carter. Some Carter is splattered throughout there. But I feel like this feels more of a, I can do anything. I can work with Bono. I can work with, you know,
Attempt.
2 Chainz. I can do all. This is what Wayne's brand's always been. I feel like this feels like the celebratory album that he was expecting to release after, which makes the numbers, the dates line up so much about the what is it, the lotion commercial and all of this stuff that seemed like he was trying to upstage Kendrick at the bowl. It makes sense. I wonder if that's what he was more disappointed in.
I agree that that's what the attempt is. The attempt is for radio, synchronization, things that can have mass appeal while looking ahead. Like, it's like, oh no, okay, Jelly Roll's popping right now. Bono, legacy act. We're gonna get all the freaking old white people to be like, yeah, I like this Lil Wayne guy. Like this old mentality of, yeah, man, freaking Bono. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, no, we don't need, if you're gonna do, and having Bono's not a problem. I'm not looking at Bono and being like, this is a problem. It's your intentions, because U2's on Damn, right? So you can put anybody, you can work with anybody if they make good music and create good music with it, but you have to have a vision and understanding of it all from the beginning, and it has to be authentic. It can't be some bullshit, and that was utter bullshit.
I mean,
but
you know,
still an incredible spitter. He's still Wayne. He's just making bad albums.
I mean, I think using Bono on a record now is kind of silly because we're so far away from U2, and there's some other interesting people who might have been had a little bit more of a surprising response. But then he goes to, like, Bono has all these different modes that he goes into. Like any MC has different modes, and Bono's an incredible vocalist. But to go to
hold on, Toure. This freaking comment's amazing. I'm white. I'm white, and I hated the Bono song. Hey, so he raised his hand and said, hey guys, I'm white, and we fucking hate that shit.
From the white congregation, I like to say white delegation, I like to say we don't buy that. We don't buy it at all.
It's not for you.
Who's it for? It's not for us.
He gives you like the sanctimonious Bono, right? The like preacher Bono who's like, come to tell you the truth, like the Joshua Tree Bono. And I'm like, I don't know if I would have gone for that Bono with Wayne. Like, I think like you're picking Bono is the wrong choice, and picking that Bono, like bringing that idea, that musical vibe.
Should have got the Coldplay nigga, Chris Martin.
It was very harmonious. I mean, I see what you're saying. Like, if you give him a big stage, perhaps this is planned to allow him to go to another level. He's with Andrea Bocelli on one of these fucking records. Like, but the album is a flop. Like, even if you had the Super Bowl and you put out this, it would be like, what is happening?
I'm willing to bet good money that song with Bono had his verses on it already, and Bono in his head said, what the hell is this song about? That's why he starts singing at the end, Revolution. I'm like, what has been revolutionary about the verses we heard from Wayne? He is lost just like the rest of us. He's like, I guess I'll do it for Wayne. That's a good friend of mine. I'll do that. He sounds uncomfortable. And I'm listening. I'm like, this doesn't even sound like.
The nigga screamed revolution at the end of the track. That's fucking hilarious. Like, he don't know it. He's like, I'm on song with this black nigga. Revolution.
It's sick.
That's
he went
crazy.
into his cliche bag and was like, what I got? Ooh, I haven't used revolution on this one. Revolution.
Just say the word. That in and of itself is revolutionary. Just
at some point it'll be relevant at some point.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Y'all saying the Bono song lacked edge. No, we're saying it lacked significance. The shit was trash.
Well, no.
Lacked the edge. That was a bar. A bar because edge is in U2.
I got it before you, nigga. I got it before you, nigga.
Because you know U2. I'm not a huge U2 fan. I have to think about it right there.
That's the problem.
Now that was a bar. People coming up with bars now.
Andrea Bocelli. Oh my God.
But let's talk about this Tyler Creator Wayne album. That's what needs to happen. I'm putting this out there into the world. Tyler, you watch the show. I know you watch the show. This nigga needs you, okay? He needs a fully produced Tyler Creator album. Put your album on hold. We got you. You're doing arenas, but we got to help Wayne out. Wayne is a GOAT. He needs the production.
What is the concept, if you're the executive producer of the Tyler Produces Wayne album? Like, where are we going? What is the direction?
I need him to tap in. Oh, go ahead. You go first. Go ahead.
I think it needs to be narrated by Tyler, Creator, and he needs to create the world of Wayne. He needs to be like, this is Wayne's world, and you just could be called that, but from the lens of him. So it's like telling the story of who Wayne is as a rapper throughout the whole thing. Create the world, and Wayne just spits how he spits throughout the whole thing, and it's gonna make perfect sense. We just need those beats. We need the music around it and the narrative around it that you're explaining. You know how, like, Call Me If You Get Lost? Just put Tyler, take Wayne in Tyler's position, and why am I forgetting my nigga's name? I'm so fucked up for forgetting it. Narrator on Call Me If You Get Lost.
Drama?
DJ Atlanta Drama. Thank you.
Drama?
I know everything about him. Forgot his name for a second. DJ Drama is Tyler, the Creator. That's what I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
What were we about to say, Curtis?
I was gonna say, I think that Tyler's such an interesting pick because he can do what was attempted to be done. If that was indeed the goal, to show you kind of like, these are all the Waynes that my fan base are divided in, and I'm going to give you different versions. I think you got to bring Tyler in to give him sort of the Wolf album treatment. Wolf was an album that gave you a selection of so many different sonics, but it all glued together because it was synthesizers from some of the same keyboards. He had an ongoing story. I think if you get a Tyler, have him give him the track listing and the sonic marriage of Wolf, but in Flower Boy, make Wayne be vulnerable. Like, make Wayne tell a story, even if it's just for 1 or 2 songs. Tell a story about what it's like he tried to create a LeBron and Bronny moment by having his son on the song. How about we talk about seeing your son come up? How about some of the controversy we've seen circulated around your name? What is it like to be Wayne at 45, 46?
He doesn't have any. I bet he doesn't have anything. What does he have?
All
he ever does is rap. All he's been doing since he's 13 is rapping.
So I want to know why you're so detached from the world. Let me know how you feel about human beings. See, that's where I feel like having somebody like an executive producer in Tyler, he'll ask those questions everybody else is afraid to ask. He's 42. Okay.
I don't. Have we ever heard Wayne be truly introspective?
And that's why
I think on some features, yes.
Where? Just tell me. I'm not challenging. I'm questioning because I feel like he is an imaginative rapper who exists. I think we talked about this, like, outside of his body. And he's never really talking about Wayne. He might be talking about quote unquote Wayne, but like, he's never really talking about himself. He's just spitting game, and that's who he is. He's a wordsmith who spits fucking game. But there's nothing to, like, I don't know if there is that to talk about.
There is, he's a human being, so there is that to talk about. Someone has to bring it out of you, and I think that's what Curtis is talking about. Wayne is capable of doing that. Wayne is not willing to show himself, it feels like, or desires to show himself. And what Curtis is saying is that we need someone to pull that out of him as a producer.
I think it is very, I think it's very nice of you to think that everybody has a rich inner life and everybody has a rich internal conversation where there's a lot of shit going on inside of them. Maybe I'm sounding like a hater, but I don't think so. I don't think everybody is having internal conversations in their mind at all. I think a lot of people are kind of quiet internally most of the day. We see studies talking about that. I think a lot of people don't think about themselves and couldn't ask themselves deep, hard questions about themselves. And I don't assume that every artist is
think about, there's lines that will say that. What was it? Solange, Mad About, Lil Wayne. This is the only one I could get off my head. When he says, I got a lot to be mad about. It's hard what was the line? He a lot to be mad about, got a lot to be a man about, got a lot of Papa Zan about, which is a Lil Wayne line. I used to rock hand-me-downs and now I rock standing crowns, but it's hard when you only got fans around and no fam around. That's introspective to his life. If you go deeper into that idea of feeling lonely, the concept of the song I Feel Like Dying Too, when he was deep into drugs and being on both sides of you.
Just in that bit that you named, he doesn't exist outside of being a recording artist. He's not a recording artist 24 hours a day. So what do you? What
he is a recording artist 20 hours a day.
No, I mean, I think you're right. I mean, like for some reason, like Here's My Dear comes to mind as like the artist talking about their life in a vulnerable way. I'm like, I don't know that he even has that gear within him.
Remember a song called "Let It All Work Out"? That's off Carter 5 by Lil Wayne. Let It All Work Out. He talks about he starts it off. He says, "Tunchi, you a genius. Looked in the mirror, said, don't let the money come between us. I'm loaded at my earliest convenience, but F him. I feel like I got 10 middle fingers. I'm sipping, and it's B and popping uppers. Girl, take this, that give a flower color. And some B named Wonder Woman told me not to wonder the crumbs. You only see them when the cookie crumble." He finds some ways and concepts. He talked about when he did try to commit suicide. I'm not gonna say the word. He tried to commit suicide.
Yeah.
In the song. He talks about these things, but he finds a really masterful way, almost like talking to a therapist and saying, "Yeah, I had some bad things happen. Do you want to talk about it?" Not quite. I feel like he walks around that, but this is where Tyler comes in. He needs somebody that's gonna be like, "I'm going to push you at this level because everybody else is gonna kiss your ass. I'm going to push you to write like you've never written before." And I think that's the disconnect between a Wayne and a new generation, is that they're used to artists being vulnerable about things that are boring to the average person. Like
having perspective,
and it's not even like a complete 180 from Wayne. It's just give us a little bit more
focus.
Of that.
It's
lock in on this,
like,
even if it's just one song.
Let me just say, in that verse that you try to say that he didn't go in there, he talks about that suicide part where he goes, "Cause here comes the motherfucker with this mass account that didn't wear a cap and gown. Are you mad cause the judge ain't give me more time? And when I attempted suicide, I didn't die. I remember how mad I was on that day. Man, you gotta let it go before get up and go away." So he just talked just like that's literally what Curtis just said. He said, "Yo, I got a whole bunch of money, and are you mad that the judge didn't give me time for when I went to jail and I didn't die when I tried to kill myself? I was really mad that day." And the concept was given to him about being mad, so he had to think about times where he was mad and when people can be mad. So you can't tell me that's not.
I'd love to hear. I mean, that subject is so ripe, and there's so much there. And I don't know if I'm saying you got to do a whole song about it. I feel like that was like, the barest, like, I almost killed myself this one time. Like, okay, you're an artist, freaking go into it. Right. I don't know. I think there's some artists who are constantly talking about themselves and some artists who are not. And I think both routes are fine. And he's a guy who's really not here to talk about himself. So the Tyler, the way that Tyler sort of like puts his heart on the record, and it's messy and it's bloody, but that's who I am. I hate my dad, and I'm gay, but I'm not, and I'm a mess, and I'm a skater or whatever. Wayne doesn't do that. That's not who he is.
He doesn't need to do that, but he can do that if pushed, is what we're saying. I also think that MF Doom, you have to be pushed. I've seen it. I've seen it like happen. You just have, if you don't got a coach to tell you, if you got no Phil Jackson, you're going to be an uncoached, fully just talent on the court without any process, without any organization. That's what he is. He's a burst of exceptional, incredible generational talent that was never fully pushed to that place. And MF Doom is a person that doesn't rap about his life, but he makes incredible albums. It don't always have to be that way. Everybody's framework doesn't have to be the same, but you gotta have perspective, vision, and a place.
For sure. You don't have to talk about your life. I wonder, I don't know. Wayne has never really talked about his wife that much. I don't know if he really has it in him to do that, Curtis.
Yeah, this is where I'm interested in who's in the room and who's ultimately saying yes to everything, or where those folks at. I mean, even there's some things that he's done before that I think would really change some of these songs. Like it was one song, I forgot which one it was. I was like, why is Juvenile not on the hook on this? Why is it not a Hot Boys Cypher song on this one? Why don't we have, like, these are things that he has access to. It seems like he's doing everything the opposite way. The personal writing I'm talking about, Torre, has more so to do with, if you get a Tyler in there and says, remember when you had your first stroke or whatever that was, you had a seizure after you was on a plane because you were sipping so much lean and your lifestyle was so crazy you wasn't getting sleep. Take me back to that story. Like, take me back to where your life was at that point. I'm not telling you to give me a song like you're gonna get from somebody who's more, dense in the writing, introspective. I'm saying, even if you had one message, like even Nas wrote, I know I can be everything I want to be. I'm not saying for Wayne to do that, but I'm saying that's so away from the catalog of Nas for a hook like that to exist in this catalog.
It's kind of surprising to me that this album is just so universally panned. Usually there's some argument, some of the fans will stick with the artist. An artist with this level of fan base has stans who you could put out, 60 minutes of you farting. And there's Kanye people, there's Beyonce people, there's Kendrick and Jay-Z people and Drake people who'll be like, I think his farts sound better than anybody else's. That's my personal belief. And there's really nobody who's like, I actually kind of like it. It's like, God damn. Everybody's
I actually love that. I love that we all collectively listened. To me, that feels so hip hop that we were like, Wayne dropped. Let's all listen to it. And we all said, try again, sir. This was trash. And it's not about, we all know he's great too, and we just know that this is trash. So I feel like if I was Wayne, I'd see that as love. Like, don't just try again. Go back. We listened. Think in a generation where everyone just goes, oh, this shit is mid, or they ignore things. But we actually listened to you and said, no, we want another one. Try that again.
Do you think that he's washed and unable to make another great album?
No,
that's crazy. I think that's a crazy statement.
I didn't make a statement. I just asked a question.
No, I'm saying people have said that.
Yeah, it's a fair question.
People have said that.
Because when you're in your 20s or 30s and you make a crap album, all right, he or she just fucked up. Let's see what they do next. Maybe it's the end, but maybe not. How old is he? He passed 40, right?
42.
He's 41 or 2. Yeah.
Yeah. When you're 41 or 2, you make a crap album. It's like, oh, maybe he's lost his touch.
Jay-Z did that.
Yeah, I would compare it more so to a player like a Russell Westbrook losing a little bit of their vertical jump, or like a LeBron. No, Russell's a little bit problematic. It's like when an athlete loses a little bit of that explosiveness, they have to change their game. And I think Wayne's in a place where he needs to change the Wayne that he thinks he still is. You're not that Wayne anymore. Like, it's not that time anymore. Forget if you're that Wayne or not. It's not that time period anymore. Like, people are asking for, can you give me a layer of depth? Can you give me a little bit more? Can you expand upon this? I think this I call it a National Geographic flow, where one page you got the mountains, another page you got some animals, another page you got an advertisement. His whole flow is like that. It's just a bunch of imagery that is being melted together through rhyming words, and none of it has any kind of cohesiveness to the actual concept. And then at the end of it, he's like, what should we call this? I don't know, elephants to peanuts.
Like, elephants to peanuts. No, but this is the one time Touré's favorite phrase of a rap verse being a non sequitur actually makes sense is Wayne. Like, he's actually the one where it can actually be a non sequitur.
A lot of work in that sentence.
No, yeah, because it's actually working for this one. Whereas a lot of times, because you could be a rap, you could follow an entire theme and have a lot of different words that follow this theme and have there's a thesis that you go by. He will go all over the place sometimes, and we're okay with it because you're rapping for the showcase of rapping a lot of times. This time, so if you're gonna do that, frame it that way, and that's what we're saying. I love the analogy you just brought about basketball, because when you can't jump as high as anyone who hoops and at an older age, you develop your shot and your backup game. And you show these young boys that I still got grown man strength, so I'm gonna back you and go up. And I hit you with the Olajuwon move, or my jumper's now wet because it has to be, or I'm gonna be useless, or all these kids ain't picking me up. They'll be like, all right, pick up OG because he can shoot.
All them kids ain't picking you up. Pause.
Hey,
this dude.
This around again. Stop diddling.
Diddying around over there. I'm too grown for that. Anyway, but let me finish the analogy of saying that like the jumper is what we were saying. Look at what we thought. We thought of like credible today producers because it's like that's what we need from you. We need to feel like you care about the music and you want to work with what's credible nowadays because you have to change the type. We don't want you to make a pop record.
Part of what you're saying that I love is get one producer and rock out with him. Mm-hmm. Generally, and I've been a proponent of that. I've been like, Jay, go get Rick Rubin and or Nas, just do a whole album with Swiss Beats and just one album with one great MC and one great producer working to get, so it's a whole cohesive that could be amazing. Just that whole concept that happens so rarely. And you're like,
it happens very little. Yeah.
Why is that happen so rarely? Because Wayne's next album will probably not be Wayne plus Conductor or Wayne plus Tyler. It'll be Wayne with a Conductor song, a Timbo AI song, a Swiss Beat song, right? But it'll be like 10 different beats, which may or may not fit together.
And I think that's part of the problem I had with the project is that if you're going that direction, you know exactly what kind of hip hop fan that album's for. If you're seeing Conductor and Alchemist, you know we have an expectation. I have an expectation of what this Alchemist and Erykah Badu project is going to be like, and I've never heard her over his production.
An Alchemist Erykah Badu project?
That's pending. They already talked about it. So I'm
about to see her on Saturday.
I'm looking forward to that because it's like I can imagine her amazing voice over this production with Wayne. I don't think he even knew what audience specifically he wanted to talk to. Because my thing is, if you wanted to go pop, make this an entire rock album showing off how much you've learned on guitar, because that can still represent some kind of evolution. But he's getting his back kicked in right now, not by the pop audience he was talking to, but the barbershop conversations up in the culture like this, because he's not talking to us anymore. But he's using a vehicle in which we expect him to talk to us, which is rap. He gets on an album and he's rapping, but with the production choices. It just, to me, this is the first time he's showing how much of a vulnerability or how much of a problem it is that he's detached from what's going on around him. You can no longer lead like that. The game has changed. Steph Curry's shooting 3-pointers from 40 feet out. You're playing a different game now.
Playing a whole different game. No, let me ask you this question analogy. What is the equivalent of this bad album for his career? Like if it was an NBA player,
Russell Westbrook.
No, but like an event, like when something that could mess up your legacy.
Russell Westbrook with the Lakers when he exploded.
This is Russell Westbrook with the Lakers versus being an extraordinary player before. I'll accept that. That's interesting. Wayne and Russell Westbrook is interesting analogy because they're both sort of like superhuman in their own way. Like Westbrook seemed to move like a video game character at a different speed than everybody else on the court. And Wayne's mind seems to move at a different speed than everybody. You talk about the randomness, like you feel the Wayne genius because he's like, when he starts to rap, he's like talking about, like, you feel like the beautiful mind thing going on around him. Like he's aware of like everything in the universe when it's fucking popping. On this album, it's
fam. Hold on, he had a song with Lin-Manuel Miranda on this shit. The Hamilton nigga. That's crazy. I'm done. We're done. We're moving topics.
You know about Hamilton now. Okay, got you. That came across your ESPN screen on the ticker. Okay, got it. I don't buy it. That's selective.
I'm done. Wayne, get Conductor, get somebody.
Even like what fucking MGK. Why?
If I'm Eminem, I'm taking that as a slight.
But what Wyclef hasn't done anything in years. Always happy to see him, but it's like, oh wow, Wyclef, you don't get out the house much.
Hey, I'm rocking with Wyclef.
I wonder if it's people that he just saw recently and was like, And he says MGK. He just saw MGK recently. He was skateboarding. MGK was out there. He's like, "Oh, you want to go to this album?" I wonder if that's how the collaborations work. What's your name? Jelly Roll. You want to be on my album? Work it out. Why Cliff? You want to executive produce his album?
I mean,
executive producer, not Manny Fresh.
If he really wanted to make a splash, he could have made a record with one of Timbaland's AI artists.
All right, I'm gonna let y'all. Y'all have a good one.
What's the AI artist was called Tata? Actually, let's look. Do we want to look at people getting the backlash, or let's just set the setting? All right. So Timbaland, I see
crazy.
this.
People getting the backlash. I don't know something about that one. Just
You guys,
freaking all hell.
you guys. Now niggas getting
around here today.
Timbaland announces, regretfully, hopefully, announces that he is going to put out his AI artist on his AI label called Zero or something like that. AI artist named Tata. And she looks like, an Asian woman, Asian American or nothing. And it calls it A-pop.
Asian woman, Tim?
It's like, why is she an Asian? And why is it called A-pop? Like, there's so many things wrong.
Oh,
he called it A-pop. Yeah, exactly. That's what he's making references to K-pop. He's using an Asian woman. Say it again.
Who is the guy who yelled at him?
Who's the guy that yelled at him? Guru?
Was a few of them. Guru was the first one. He did it with love, but there's an artist that came up there. I think it was an independent artist that had a conversation with him.
You have that? Let me see that.
Let's look at this clip. Where is this clip? Let me play it. There we go. It's not playing. Look at me.
I believe in you. It'll happen.
It'll happen some point. Once I find the volume knob, there we go. Let's do it again.
Welcome to the chat, baby.
Y'all hear that?
What's up? Hey, respect to every.
Yeah.
Welcome to the chat, baby.
What's up? Hey, respect to everybody here.
Hey, John, I respect you, bro. I respect. Hey, look,
the
reason I brought you here
because your post is crazy.
No.
We got it.
I mean it.
We got it. All right, we're gonna stand on it in the chat.
I mean everything about it, bro. I'm not double backing on it. Respect to your legacy, I would say. What I view this as right now is a betrayal to artists everywhere, bro. What you're doing is you're backdooring us. You got into a position of power, and instead of choosing to unionize and fight against this AI, which I'm not stupid. I use ChatGPT to script out screenplays, things like that. I use ChatGPT on a daily to think of content ideas, to do the menial task, the meaningless task that a robot should do. I'm a spiritual person, and I believe that artists all are tapped into a divine entity, right? When you go and you start creating and you allow some fucking robot to come in and finish your song, you're cutting yourself off from the divine. And let me not even get that deep with it. What I think you're doing is you're doing something that's, in a sense, demonic, bro. And I know it sounds like I'm exaggerating, but it feels demonic. You're choosing to go against us all and put this robot, instead of signing an artist, instead of having someone who has a voice that you could put on your platform. All these motherfuckers you had on the live, all this cool shit you were doing, you choose to go in this direction.
John, did you just hear what I just did over there? I do that, John.
Hey, John.
And then you going by headlines, and I ain't do nothing. I ain't show you nothing. No, you going by headline. I ain't say nothing. That's why we up here. John, you just saw a picture. Correct? You ain't hear no music. You ain't hear me play nothing. You ain't hear me. You don't even know what I'm building. You just went off because you thinking I'm doing something with AI and you just upset. But you never asked me. You never asked me. Think about it. John, you know you're wrong. You never had a conversation with me. You just went off of a title. Everybody did.
Who posted it though? Who posted it?
Yeah, a guy, interviews, they're going to make it look like something. We already knew this. We knew, but the conversation was to get this conversation of talking about AI. We're talking about something that people are not having a conversation about, and it's going to leave us left behind if we don't figure out solutions. That's all I'm saying. I don't have an AI. How can I have an AI artist, John? It's nothing there.
So this is rage bait, bro?
No, it's not rage bait. No, I took something. I'm explaining what I did to make me come up with this idea. Because
brothers, this is what we're gonna do.
No, I don't think John is upset. Are you upset? You just talking.
I'm not upset.
Tim's not upset. He just talked like that.
I'm upset.
I don't.
No, I think
Here, if you watch the rest of it, he kind of like goes back, but you have to go over it because he just gets mad. But it's like Timbaland basically says, "Yeah, I'm doing AI, but I'm not doing exactly what they said I was doing." And then it becomes, "Oh, I'm gonna do a conversation about how we can regulate AI and how we could use it to our advantage."
Can you play the? Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I thought you would. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I could play the rest of it, but it goes in.
No, not the rest of it. There's a video he put up on his Instagram after everybody gave him the criticism, and he's speaking with so much humility in his live stream, but he tripled and quadrupled down on the concept by using an AI video to tell these artists that most artists' issue with this whole thing is that he's been accepting submissions from independent artists all over the world for his review series. What their concern is, are you using my music for the machine learning?
Oh.
And then he goes and triple downs and says, most of y'all ain't even good. Like, go watch the AI video. He basically like is shout out to Afro Butterflies, gaslighting 101. So you chastise the people who have fair concerns by using an AI video telling them how they're not even good enough for the machine learning. I got something to say about that, but I'm gonna wait till after you see if you find that clip.
Yeah, I'm gonna find the clip.
I
know I saw.
But you're saying that he is potentially or probably using their music that he's not paying for to teach the machine how to be a better rapper. So it's building off of their shit and rising on its own.
So in that live stream, he said that he was not doing it. But there's something tricky about that. He says he's not doing it. He says, I got hard drives of music that I'm training this off of. I don't need your music, basically, was his sentiments. That doesn't stop Suno. Suno's the problem here. Suno is the entity that he partnered with who got caught red-handed and then got sued because they admitted in court, literally on Music Business Worldwide, they admitted in court that they have been using, their machine learning has been sourcing unlicensed music. After they denied it to the public, they said, "No, we're not using that."
The only way it's possible.
Exactly.
I found it.
Then they come here and then say, "Okay, yeah, we did it," but they only told that into court. Had any of us had created something like this that was taking unlicensed music and then charging people for services, we'd be in jail. But now they're trying to figure out how to cozy up with the artists and the producers, and then turn around. Like this is. Oh boy, play this video though.
Music. Whatever. Go ahead and cry me a river, since Timbo Stamp is on that too.
Y'all crying about AI taking your spot, but your songs barely mix. Why would we train it on that?
Not funny.
Man, y'all scared of AI, but record every hook in Melodyne.
Auto-tune is AI, baby. Y'all just didn't complain till it started writing better hooks than you. Timbo ain't the villain. He just not babysitting y'all no more.
This is posted on his page.
But ain't got output.
You worried about AI stealing your sound? Bro, you ain't got one.
Yeah, I heard it.
I don't understand.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Commercial? What was the point of that commercial? Why were they animals?
Just so you kind of know that they are. Anyways, he used something called VO3, Google VO3, and where you could just type in a prompt, right? And it will make a video that already has the sound and the voice acting and everything. So you create these characters. So someone made these animal characters to be like, hey, this is AI. Look at, they're not real things, telling you that you guys suck. So he double died on the concept, saying, why would I use y'all shit? Because y'all niggas is trash. And then try to an extent, falsely correlate things like AI to, things like AI to auto-tune.
Tim made that commercial?
Which, yes, someone made it for him and he posted it.
On his page.
On his page.
Wow.
He posted it. Now, hold on. Now there's enough. Ray Daniels, your favorite guy in the world, had a response too.
Must be talking to Curtis.
This one too. This also dumb stuff.
Yo, in today's news of artists are never satisfied, artists are never happy. This is why executives, producers, stuff of that nature don't work with artists. First of all, the Timbaland, who has super producer who has, I see, helping as many artists as he can, decides he's going to play in the AI world, which why the fuck wouldn't you? Like, let me tell you what an AI thing is. Let me tell you what an AI character is. Mickey Mouse is an AI character.
No, it's not.
Donald Duck is an AI character.
No, he's
Bugs
not.
Bunny is an AI character.
No, he's not.
You guys are looking at it wrong. He's going to make a character that he can have sing songs and things of that nature, sell products. That's all these cartoonists and all these young kids TV shows are doing anyway. So why y'all mad at him? IP. Plus, do you know how hard it is to push an artist? They going to tell you, I want to do that. Jimmy Iovine famously told me one day, get you something that don't talk back. What is better than an AI artist that don't talk back? And we're still mad at him.
Oh
yes!
Yes! Somebody just called me.
Get you an artist that don't talk back? You know
maybe
how insane. Yeah, maybe we should kill rappers off and use their freaking music and drop post hum in his albums. Like, what are we doing?
Jimmy told Diddy that, and he said, "Oh, watch me sign Cassie."
You guys hear me? By the way,
he found a way to bring it in there.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, my sound went out for a second. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, it's all good. But here's the problem with that whole thing. The music business is created as an exploitative system for talent. It extracts talent and all of the resources that talent can provide to create wealth and leaves the talent with nothing. That's what the contracts are based on. And any talent that actually wins within that system was either lucky or had to fight against the system to retrieve funds, or they get rich somewhere else. They get famous and find another way to make money, a la every single billionaire that came from the music industry, except for what? Taylor Swift. She's the only person that actually became a billionaire in music industry, and she had to fight against the music industry to get to that spot. She had to weaponize her fan base to understand the music industry and say, hey guys, buy my version of the album because this evil record company owns all my shit. And she became a billionaire. That's what it is. And this executive who's just projecting this exploitation that usually happens to black and people of color, right? Black, and I separated it, black people and people of color, and now you're projecting it within our own people, to your own people, saying like, this is why executives don't work with artists. What do you mean by that? What? This is why we want you to get you an artist. Jimmy Iovine told me, get you a slave.
Right.
You just took what Master said to you and try to project it to me like it's good information, like it's business information. Get out of here with that bullshit. It's exploitative.
Is that how Jimmy approached Dre and Snoop? I don't think so.
You crazy. He probably tried, but then figured it out.
They had 9 Inch Nails too, right? Is that how he approached Trent Reznor? I don't think so.
No. So that's out of this world. Out of this world, lame, and you off base. You don't care about talent. You don't care about people. You create and sell product. That's fine for you. Fuck out of here with all your shit when we talking about talent and people. Fuck out of here. And Mickey Mouse, something that's created from somebody's brain. Donald Duck, cartoon characters, IP. That's an intellectual property. That's not the same as somebody typing something into
IP, not AI.
So Walt Disney was AI. Walt Disney was AI.
Yeah.
All of his
Disney was AI.
That was all AI.
The problem is people don't know what AI is. And AI doesn't even really exist. Generative AI is what we're having right now. Learned models off of information stolen from many databases.
The thing is that we're going to see more of this that we are talking about, which we agree that we dislike it. We agree that we want to see human beings be artists and not computers. But I think we're going to see more of that, and we're going to see intelligent artistic uses of it and unartistic uses of it. Just like when autotune first blew up, and I know this is different than autotune, but like as a major technology that most of the audience can identify sonically, there are people who used it to great extent and it sounds great. And there are people who are very lazy and use it in a lazy way and it sounds crappy. Mm-hmm. There will be some people, I mean, I don't necessarily want to see an AI generated artist, although
it's happening already.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I can imagine a future where you have your own personal cultural ecosystem with AIs that are built. So you have your own Beyonce in your own world, and who I may not be aware of, but she is the perfect entertainer in my mind, in Curtis's mind,
That's,
in Green's mind, like, but it doesn't exist in my
technically
mind.
that's already happening with these silos that we live in, where there's an artist that I know that I follow, I go to their show, there's 5,000 people there, and you have no fucking clue they are. They have millions of listeners, right? Now, how they make that music, whether they use AI parts or AI generated synth lines and all like that, sample it, whatever like that, this is happening already. I am not a person that says that all this is bad, the tool is bad. I'm saying you exploiting people is bad. That's the actual issue. Stealing from us is bad. If my beats and songs were using your model and I don't get paid and there's no royalties off of it, that's my issue. Because this is too far along for me to be like, I'm not going to listen to any AI shit. That's impossible. It's going to be impossible. You guys are incorrect. People will say that, and I'll see them like a post about a vlog where Jesus was back in the day and he's vlogging from biblical times. People will say they hate AI and then like that post.
Yo, those shits are incredible. I'm so
okay then. Guess what? That's AI. So people, here's my. I'm gonna talk to those people who say that they don't like AI at all. You guys are liars. When something entertains you, you accept it. When it doesn't entertain you, now you have an issue with it.
I mean, at some point, you will be faced with an entire AI album
timeline
or an entire AI movie. Like, and as artists, we're like, I don't want to see that, but like, we know that's inevitable. So Curtis, do you like reject it? Like, I won't even listen to it, or you're like, I'm waiting to see what this technology does.
You know, there is a part of me that wants to see what it does in terms of assisting the business that I've created. In terms of thinking for me, that takes all the fun out of everything that I chose to do. I don't need it to make the music for me so that I can rap. I don't need it to make anything for me. If anything, I just need it to assist. And need is even a stretch because I didn't need it 5-10 years ago. I like what it brings in terms of an efficient workflow in some of these situations, but I'm always the person prompting. I'm always the person that's leading ahead of it. And that means something to me. Perhaps in 10 years, that nuance won't even matter to some people, most people. What I'm looking at with Timbaland, I think that's really, really agitating. And even with that Ray Daniels video that I didn't see, I feel like sometimes sometimes the people that are success stories in the music business, evolve to become top tier executives that then look out for their people. And some people, they've learned from the best slave master how to become a slave master. Yep. This is where I tie this back into what Timbaland is doing, which I think is so problematic in that I'm going to use a term that I've heard from one of them sleazy dating shows, negging. I feel like he specializes in negging independent artists who all look up to him. He spends hours and hours and hours on TikTok listening to music from submissions people have paid for. There's some kind of incentive there, and you can't just make it seem like nobody has a sound and y'all ain't even got a sound. Why would I listen? I'm going to tell you why. Because if we judge the music that has come solely from Timbaland and not with the collaborations of a Sound Oracle, the collaborations of a Danger Hands, Timbo's falling off. Sonically, Timbaland is falling off. And he's not in touch with the things that are happening. I saw him, and I've watched it because I had a unique perspective in being a producer in the online space. I saw him kind of come into this space and then embrace the producer grinds and the folks that have been doing it on a ground level, a grassroots level. And I saw him commenting on producers who are making drill beats. You know what he's not making? Drill beats. Because sonically, he's not at that space. So what's the best thing that I can do to stay relevant in a time where my skill set would require a lot of work that maybe he doesn't want to do? I can use AI. And if I just tell them and assure them, I'm not the one that's doing the machine training, that doesn't take the problem off the table. Because Suno has already they've already admitted to illegally sourcing unlicensed music. What's to stop them from going and saying, Timbo don't got to do it, but we can take these live streams and start funneling this music right back into the system? Because otherwise, what are you doing here on TikTok, Timbaland? For those hours and hours on end, you're Timbaland. And I want to make sure I give respect to it because you've changed the sound of music multiple times. But I look at all of this whole rollout, and this shit feels not only disingenuous, but it feels like, once again, someone who learns from a slave master how to be a great slave master, in which people love you for the abuse that you're giving. I'm looking at this, and you put this video out a day after getting the backlash, instead of doing what I feel like you should have did, which was a live stream listening to people, because people have real concerns. They paid money with you. Right, he had a collaboration with Akai, I believe, in which he told his audience there's only 22 of these Timbaland collaborations available. And then after those people bought that urgency, not even a few months later, they put the whole thing out again. So that urgency was a lie, allegedly. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, dog, I'm very protective of the artists and the producers in this community, and I can see right through it. Anytime somebody does all of that negging, I know what comes after that. I wouldn't submit another damn thing to him.
I don't think you should do that in general, because unless it's a trust, like if you have a trusted community of people where you really feel like you're gaining insight as an artist or independent artist, and you can feel that and you've seen it and you're getting value from them already, that's fine. If your value is only this person is famous, that's not a good enough value. The value needs to be like, if I'm getting information, if I'm getting, like, on their YouTube, they have information on how to create beats and all that type of stuff. They're actually giving you information for free. Or you go in there live and you're seeing them make a beat or stuff like that. That's learning. Otherwise, if you're just giving somebody your shit because they're famous or they're an executive, that's never made sense in the history of the music industry. Those freaking seminars that executives used to have is like, we're gonna have a guy from Def Jam there, we're gonna have a guy from Interscope, and they're gonna listen to your music. Nobody ever got signed off that shit. Nobody. And you paid to get there. It's not the way to do it. You have to be able to discern that as an independent artist and put yourself out there. First of all, as far as your options goes, there's so many. But I want to just piggyback on the idea of the difference between, it's like a class within the music industry. People in the indie class, people who do not have this opportunity, are not even going to have the opportunity to use a lot of these tools. They can't even learn these tools. And people like him who are taking their music are completely exploiting them and then kicking them out of the industry. So you're not only going to not have a chance, you're going to get locked out. That's what's happening with this Suno AI stuff. If you go and look at it, there's AI music with millions of streams. People are listening to this shit. They're creating it, sharing it, and listening to it because they're like, hey, I want to hear a song about flowers. And no rapper made a song about flowers.
I think that there's
so people go check it out.
I think there's a humanity that we possess, especially the more artistic human beings who dare to, like, create some art and put it out. And as much as you can learn, I think you can replicate the past, but can you do something truly creative and human if you are not human? And can you truly create something new? We are all old enough to remember the birth of hip hop, remember when there was a time before that. And we also may remember the rise of disco and how that did not exist, and then it was a culture, and the rise of other subcultures. That would be interesting to me, and I don't think that's even possible. Like, could you, AI...
It's possible. I think...
create a new subculture?
Yeah, I think we need to... This is one thing I want to say. We are far gone from this concept that if AI, we are in AI. So thinking about if AI is a past concept, something that I've dived into. So
we're assuming the presence of the tool in the world. The question is, can it create something wholly new, the way that we expect human being able to be human being, and not one thing, not a single, not an album, a movie, but a whole subculture.
And if it can create one...
Can I add one more thing to that?
Go ahead.
Can it predict what then the domino effect is going to be from us experiencing this new generated AI music, and how we'll evolve? Or will it always be behind us because human beings are going to do what they always do, which is go beyond logic to create something new?
That's a philosophical conversation. Okay, because what I could talk about the capability, because now you're talking about physics. Creating something new is like defining what new is. Is anything ever really new? So now we have to define what new is to really, and that becomes philosophical. But if we're just talking about the tool set right now, what people call AI, like we said, are generative models, right? These are not things that are actually thinking for themselves. When it gets to the point of thinking for themselves, we don't have the capability to think about how another consciousness is going to think. We don't know. That's a philosophical conversation. Do you understand what I'm saying like that? Like, we have consciousness, which is a debatable concept in its first place as a human consciousness. Now when an artificial intelligent entity can actually think for itself, create art on its own, which is what we are gearing towards, we have no clue. But at this moment, what can be done is it can see patterns and create something new out of data and patterns. And it's just getting better at that. Now, when you have all the data in the world, which is not there yet, say if you have all the data in the world and you could just create something new, be like, hey, I want you to make a new genre that's going to be highly successful and marketable to kids between the ages of 7 and 25. In 6 years, you're going to be able to do that. And then it's going to have the genre of music. It's going to know the visual aesthetic that people are going to be attracted to. And it's going to be able to do that. I'm telling you, within 5 to 6 years, it'll be able to do that. And that's a human asking for what it can do. And it's going to be successful at it. And I'm seeing this right now. The problem is that people are not seeing what's actually happening on a technological space. Marketing companies being like, hey, I just use ChatGPT to do your whole marketing. I'm making whole commercials with AI. It's already.
Curtis, do you think that AI can do that?
Do what specifically?
To create a something larger than an individual creation, but to create a subgenre like human beings created, like hip hop, disco, punk. We've seen these cultures rise up, not just music, but there's a lifestyle to it. There's a way of dressing that goes along with it. There's a visual aesthetic that attends to it. Human beings keep creating these things. I am so far skeptical that a robot, a machine, a computer can create a subculture.
Right. At this stage, no. Where it's heading, I agree with King Green, is that it's only getting better, and it's getting better at a dangerous rate right now, right? The issues that I'm taking with it is that there's a lack of regulation going on while illegal activity is happening, admittedly by Asuno. It's literally out there that they've said illegal. We stole this music unlicensed without your permission. And now it came out the other day that UMG and a few other entities are now looking to, collaborate and license music to them. So my thing is this: at this stage, no. And I only say that, and it's not trying to lean into the philosophical conversation, but what I see is this machine is learning from sources that have already existed, that have been inspired by God knows who or what from these artists. Now, once this thing is created based upon this source, what happens when the source change again? Well, it has to then squeeze it of inspiration and then bring that into the new machine learning. What happens when it evolves again? I feel like humankind is undefeated. I feel like human creativity is undefeated. And so when I see graphic designers who have all their life done things first by hand, and then they get into the task cams and they start doing things on a computer, and then all of a sudden it brings another evolution, I see them evolving as this thing evolves. Now, in terms of it getting ahead, I understand that as an entity, as a brain itself, nothing can compete with that, right? I saw something that talked about how it was able to double the 4.0 ChatGPT was able to double the IQ of what's my guy's name? Albert Einstein. It was able to double the IQ in ChatGPT 4.0. And the next time it comes up, it's going to be even. I get the intelligence that exists there. I just have issues with why people who seem to be on the decline creatively, like a Timbaland, are pushing this so aggressively, because the repercussions, he ain't gonna have to deal with it. Like, why are you speeding the process up? It seems like you're trying to look at the opportunity to fill your pockets up, and damned if it affects the rest of you. Now I'm gonna even check. Now I'm gonna gaslight you and say you're not even good enough for me to steal from. Why you might be. Why your company that you got might be literally stealing. You're gonna convince these folks are not good enough. And I don't know if you've ever watched any of those live streams. I've had folks in my community tell me how much he like just shits on the music. You can say he's just being real, but that's what you do to somebody that you plan on taking from. That's what the music industry does.
Interesting point. There's a super chat. Are you able to put the super chats up, or you're not? Green.
Yeah, I could put all the super chats up. Got some in there.
Shay had an interesting point.
Let me put it. Scoop.
The issue for me is responsibility in ushering this into a generation that won't know a world without it. Like the professor said, learn math before learning to use a calculator. Yeah. I mean, I see it with my kids that their teachers use software that is meant to detect whether or not the student used ChatGPT in the writing of the essay, because they want to make sure that you're not just using that and thus not learning to write. So, that fight to make sure that they're actually learning and not using the tools to make shortcuts and not learn, it is happening.
Yeah. Well, that I do feel like if the power's in the prompt, that still requires you to do thinking. It still requires creativity. Your prompt's going to be very different from mine. If I have a history in photography and I'm able to give it specifics, terminology wise, I'm able to say, I want you to deliver this from a 35 millimeter lens. Like those nuances matter even for the most powerful job in AI, which is being a prompt, someone who's able to create these prompts. Prompt engineer, right? So I still see human creativity at the forefront. And I feel like, if anything, this is now going to speed the process of how we connect the dots mentally, because we're using this as assisted intelligence as opposed to artificial or replacement intelligence. Like that's the part that what is the purpose of making music at that point? And then if you're pushing that, why are you pushing that? Like my thing is this: how many people have actually learned something about AI from Timbaland, except for what he's done with it? What have you learned how to become a better prompt engineer from being there? See, that's the issues that I get, because I'm like, you're selling this as trying to inform the people of it, but you're not informing them of nothing except for how much is filling your pockets.
What do you guys say to Curtis? What do you say to people who say, I think someone says that here, that's what humans, this is kind of philosophical. That's what humans do. Humans create from the things from before. Sure. Like we take this rapper, this artist, we take this genre, put it all together and make something new. And you know that in Suno AI right now, you could be like, yo, I want a reggae pop song that has a hip hop twist with this. And then it creates something out of that. And it gives you 3 versions of that. That's now in the baby infant form of generative AI, not even artificial intelligence, where generative AI, where you have to do a prompt. What do you say when that AI doesn't need your prompt and it can create something?
Right. Well,
do you feel out of things before? Is that the same thing as a human creativity, or no?
There are similarities. One of the biggest differences is that it's not that is regulated in one and it's not regulated in the other. If I take enough inspiration from one and I'm able to expose that, whether it's the rhythm of a Marvin Gaye and it ends up getting Pharrell and Robin Thicke sued.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's the problem. The problem is that you can regulate that, because once you we all are creatively a gumbo pot of all of our creative inspirations, right?
We are.
And even I could have 4 of the same influences as Torre or King Green, but I could interpret it and spit it out in very different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the way that AI is set up, with the lack of regulations, it's faster than any of us will ever be.
Yeah.
And it's getting to results faster without any kind of regulation. I mean, I think one of the regulations, one I shouldn't say any. One of them that I saw was that you can't copyright that music.
Yeah.
So then who's ultimately profiting off of that?
So who owns it then?
Like if you take a sample, exactly. That's my point, is that we need more transparency on that. Because does that mean that now we're in streaming 2.0 and now instead of Spotify, it's Suno?
Yeah, that's literally where we're at. And I said that before, and I agree with you. AI is unethical, and that's my number one issue. The same way that capitalism is unethical. It's exploitation, right? But just like capitalism, me, you, and him have to go give that money to get some food today, right? We gotta buy groceries. So we have to make money. I'm saying that we already lost. They already stole our music. We already know that, right? Like, they already stole everybody's music. They already stole everybody's art. I could tell someone to make this painting look like Studio Ghibli or make it look like The Simpsons. They already stole this shit. Mm-hmm. So if they already stole it, there's nothing we can do other than try to put the laws in place, which is what I 100% agree with you. Is like, we need laws in place to get royalties, to get payment for the theft. And unfortunately, nobody's having that conversation. People are having this weird conversation is like, do we want AI art? And what I'm a proponent is like, you guys are late. You're going to enjoy AI art, and you're enjoying it now. You just talked about how you like that biblical series. If you could like that biblical series, there's another person who loves AI music. It's just taste at this point. Once it gets better, people you're enjoying it. Actually, I saw something like IG is now like 50% fake shit.
Yeah.
Already? Yes, Instagram is already 50% fake shit. What are we talking about? It's done for. We need regulations. Thinking about do you like it or not is a lie. You're going to like it. It's going to happen. Now, who owns it, and can, one, black people profit off of it, and two, artists and everyone? Can we profit and use this to our advantage? If not, we're just getting thrown in the gutter and exploited as always. Creatives and artists are getting thrown into the gutter. So that's the real. That's my chat. That's my chat. But this dude has a super chat. It's more important than my chat. Timbaland is putting VA to so much shame. John Henry is rolling in his grave. How you disrespect your history, your people, and your legacy all at once. I was like, "Oncem?" I didn't even know that word. Yeah, that's his John Henry story all over again, for real.
To add to what he just said right there, I just thought about something. And people are asking who have submitted music to Timbaland. They said, "Are you sure you're not using our music as part of the machine, the machine training or machine learning?" And he says, "No, I'm not doing that." Did he ask for permission for that Biggie remix?
The executives of the top AI companies have already warned us that if AI is not regulated, it will render human employees irrelevant in the next few years.
Woo! People be in denial. I'd be trying to come at it this harsh because people be in denial. It's like some people be thinking that their jobs are gonna be okay, and I'd be looking at y'all like, you look at emails all day, my guy. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be here. Like it's like people die every day. B is the number one thing. It's like, this is a real big problem. And the one thing I liked what Timbaland said, even though he was double back on the whole thing, was just like, I'm bringing this conversation up. The fact that more regular, non-interested AI people are talking about this makes me happy. Because now you could maybe learn. Maybe you're interested in learning how you about to lose a lot of money and get turned into like a full-on slave, because this is coming and it's going to be a big problem for everybody, not just creators.
As told by somebody who's already sold out the culture before with verses. My words, not y'all's. You sold verses to Triller. That's the person that I want sitting here telling me about where I need to follow, who I need to follow. You sold verses. A great cultural experience and moment during the pandemic that extended out to some really classical cultural hip hop moments, and you sold it. And them people didn't even give you the money that you supposedly sold it for. So you suing them. How many times do we sell out the culture and then we put the mask in front of it and say, I'm actually trying to educate you and keep y'all ahead of the game? That's not what's going on here. Stop playing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Timbaland. There's so many things wrong with him doing this too. It's like, come on now, especially at this time. You seen those Timbaland clips where they're breaking down his production and how genius the production was to come up with different pieces. Like, he takes samples from everywhere. This is a time where people are appreciating the art that you came up with at a top, where when were doing it, it was looked as less than. It was looked as not creative, and then you're going to now be exploitative in a time where we actually understand, the general populace understands sampling.
He don't care about that because he knows how collaborative and sometimes how off the hands he was in these situations when he had collaborators that you hear their signature when they're alone, the Danger Hands, the Sound Oracles. You see what they do on their own. And I know music is a collaborative experience. I'm not by any means delusional about that, but I just think that it's really interesting that the person that has made their career off of being the record producer in the traditional sense, which means sometimes you don't play the keys, sometimes you don't even put your hands to the music, sometimes you just lead the direction on things, right? What to cut out. That's the person that wants to convince me that I need to follow them when in essence it feels like instead of now Timbaland being a record producer for 3 beat makers in a room, he wants to be the record producer for every producer. You are all my beat makers and employees if I use your music, allegedly, and feed it into the machine. Now, all of y'all are my beat makers. I want producers to really give that thought and see how pinky in the brain this shit looks.
Right? Curtis, I want you to answer this, and I want to answer this question right here as a producer and as a creative, because we are in a very interesting time. You see the question on the it says, riddle me this. If I rap on some YouTube type beat, I somehow get more respect than rapping over a truly unique AI beat that I built over 4 hours. Doesn't that sound dumb?
Yes and no, but AI is gonna get better. Like I don't doubt that. If anything, I said the first producers that are going to get replaced first are the ones who have made them. To type beat and I shouldn't say type because every type beat producer is not the same. When I made type beats, I was part of that generation that was creating it's a marketing tool. It's almost like when I finish a beat for you, King Green, I'm like, damn, who can you hear over this? Man, that sounds like some stuff that Snoop would get on and da-da-da-da. That's what a type beat marketing
type
tool
beat was. Yeah.
For some folks, they made that their entire identity, and they don't have an identity outside of being a carbon copy of a 40, a carbon copy of a Boy Wonder or a Conductor. So I think those are the ones that get replaced because you niggas have been parading around like Chat GPT the whole time. You thought you were Chat GPT. You were studying the best beats that y'all already AI. Now you got replaced by a smarter and a quicker one. So of course, yeah, those are the ones that's going to be out of here first. So yeah, to that point, I don't think it's an either or situation. I think that we're there, and I think that folks who are unoriginal, just like AI feels unoriginal at this point, you're going to be replaced because they can do your computer-like job better than you.
Yeah. And some people would argue that an AI beat that you made isn't really original or unique anyways, because they argue that AI is not a real thing. Like it didn't come from a human, therefore it's not real. I don't really agree with that concept, but as of things now, if you just type some shit in Suno AI and give me a beat, I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about? But
I think King, I almost don't want to be, and I'm relating this to you. I almost don't want to be part of the generation that explains the difference that I hear, because I feel like that's the gatekeeping I need to be a part of. I know somebody else will. I know Timbaland will let them know what the differences is because he's front line. But I'm almost to the point where I'm like, it's because when you listen to the AI, it sounds like, you know what? Never mind. You guys got it.
You were just about to do. You was just about to do what you said. You know,
no, that was an example of it. That's what I'm saying. I'm having to do that in my head in real time now, where it's like, man, this is trash because of the kick in the. You know what? You guys got it. It sounds perfect. Don't worry about it.
Sounds great. You good?
If I can't stop it, I'm gonna slow it down.
You can't stop it. You can slow it down. Well, you could keep what you're doing is keeping the essence and the truth of what it is to be creative. You like, oh, I know what I am and where I'm at as an artist, and I can do that. I've seen people use, I was trying to find it, this tool and put their entire style into it and be able to use it with their shit. So it's like, wait a minute, that's just you making your own shit. It's like that to me fucks with me logically and conceptually, because I'm like, this is your style. And you just trained this thing to do your style. And I'm like, and only you can do that now anyways, right? So I'm like, is this AI art? Or it's hard for me to like.
Yeah. Can I throw something philosophical in that mix? What you just said, this is a thought that came to me. What about for the people that don't know how to describe how a sound makes them feel? that become the prompters that are teaching this machine inaccurately. What about for somebody who's listening to a beat and they're like, I just like the way it drags? What does AI interpret that as outside of swing, outside of, and then what is it actually swinging? I think there's so many levels to it that we ourselves, if you ask most producers, the most genius ones, even like Nas doesn't give the most like detailed interviews. It's one of the most brilliant pens in the game of all time. Doesn't give you a whole lot in these interviews. Kendrick neither. So how much are you able to pull from that and then create the carb? Like, that's what I'm saying. They're all pulling from things that have already come from the past. They're doing things. The most genius minds in our genre are doing things that they themselves at times cannot explain. They were just a vessel for this gift, and they put it out there. So I'm also too, I as much faith as I have in humans, I also, on the other side, remember how stupid humans are too. And I'm just looking at this situation, and I'm like looking at some of these prompts, and I'm like, I ain't got nothing to worry about. Worry about shit.
Moving into stupid humans.
And
things that are.
I want to shift this a little bit for the last little bit of the show. Kind of a crazy situation going on in LA. A lot. Green, I spent a good hour this morning catching up, just trying to understand what happened, why, what's going on.
Give us the news report. Let's just get the facts out. Give us the news report.
Well, as far as we can tell, there was an ICE raid looking for immigrants in LA. And it's interesting how they started out saying they were going after criminals, and now that we see them going to workplaces to get them, we tell them to do it the right way, and then we say, hey, immigrant, if you come to the immigration office at this time with your paperwork, then we'll get that next meeting going for you. And when they come, they arrest them. So they're trying to work, they're trying to do their paperwork the right way, but still we're using these as places to arrest them. But whatever. There's an ICE detention facility in, I believe, downtown LA, where a group of protesters came and started protesting in front of it. And for whatever reason, that protest grew and grew. And we've all been to protests, but some, are just a few hours that day and they dissipate. Some, for whatever reason, grow. And I think there was an over-aggressive police response to this protest. And so the protest grew even more to where the president is going, it's very violent. I will federalize the National Guard and send them in. And that set off alarm bells around the country because people were like, oh, here comes the authoritarian. Now he's going to use this to put in martial law and take over. Here comes the dictator to final. So even more people come out. Now people are protesting Trump in general and the National Guard. So there's thousands and thousands of people on the street, all kinds of confrontations. Trump called for 2,000 National Guard soldiers. There were already thousands and thousands and thousands of people on the streets, a little 2,000 if they had come, but only 300 National Guard troops actually showed up. 300 ain't gonna do shit because there's 20, 30, 40,000 people in the streets mad as hell. So that now they're protesting the presence of the National Guard and Trump using the military against citizens. So the whole thing is getting hotter. LAPD comes in too hot. Now there's lots of video of clashes between citizens and LAPD, throwing rocks, burning cars, burning Waymo cars, burning police cars. There's all sorts of craziness going on. Not everywhere. It's not like all of LA, but a part of LA, it's going pretty hot. Fires, a lot of confrontations between, I think a lot of this was Sunday. I think Saturday was really nothing. And Sunday this rose up. And you notice too, in all the videos of the protesters, a lot of Mexican flags, a lot of flags, Argentina. So a lot of people who are coming from south of the border, who live here, many of them probably citizens, are angry at the ICE raids and the conversation about demonizing them and their community and the fear that ICE is approaching all this with, because they used to just come in and grab people, but now they come in dressed like they're going to Iraq, faces covered, M16, MRAP truck. And it's like, none of this is necessary for you to come into an American city. So we have this is one of the most significant on the ground, physical, violent pushbacks against Trump since he was reelected. And we would have thought that he would have some ridiculous repressive response to this sort of a thing. He promised if BLM, he'll crush them. But he hasn't yet. He hasn't yet. And this is really interestingly.
You mean verbally?
Well, you would expect it. Well, not verbally, but you would expect him to like send a bunch of like hard troops and like crush people and like be really violent and like.
Well, did you say he sent 2,000 troops?
No. He called 2,000 National Guard troops, but only 300 came. So that was a bust. But even if it had been 2,000, the protesters were many thousands of people. I can't even count. But the videos that I saw.
Oh, that's hard to do, honestly, just from a logical and tactical. To have an actual issue in America, people need to know this. That's very hard to do. Like, they don't know how to actually do that. And that's why we are controlled so much with media and actual like civil war, basically, in America nowadays would be insane. But because it's just hard logistically. Here's the thing about that all. Everyone who's seeing this, some people say in the comment, it's like my favorite African proverb. Rain does not fall on one roof alone. This is, you're looking at how rain falling at somebody's house and be like, oh, that sucks for them. Like, you're going to get rained on. This is fascism. This is not just ICE. I shouldn't have this capability. ICE is not the military. Why is ICE being used as military and used for force to take people out? And citizens who are U.S. citizens are being wrongfully deported and detained. And that's what the protest is about.
We should
People
stop
think it's about just.
We should stop using the word deported because that requires and implies a legal framework to what they're doing. That you have been adjudicated as you should be here. And we are effectuating this warrant.
Yeah, they're being exiled. That's a better word. They're being exiled.
They're being exiled.
Kidnapped and exiled. Yeah.
They're being kidnapped. If somebody grabs you, you don't see a court, and they just put you on a bus or a plane and take you to another country, that's a kidnapping. That's not really a deportation because there's no legal framework for it.
Weren't they picking up some folks in court? Like before they actually went in court, they were with their lawyers and they were pulling them off to the side.
Yeah, that's how insidious they are. That they told you, come to a meeting, we're gonna get you closer to being a citizen, and then they grab you. I think partly too, Green, in this situation, you see the failure of Trump in that in big moments, there's a part where the leader comes where there's a fork in the road, and if you do this, you're gonna get this response. If you do this, you're gonna get that response. And I was reading about JFK. And the Cuban Missile Crisis. And there's a moment when many people would have said, we got to press the button because we can't press it after Russia. And Kennedy is like holding on. And he's like, he knows the world, the balance of the world is in his patience. And like, finally they hold both sides are holding out and they don't know the other side is holding out. And finally, obviously nothing happened and it was just a Cold War and that dissipated and nobody got hurt in that specific moment. But like the leader can be rash and make the situation worse, or he or she can be patient and maybe make the situation better. And Trump is always going to choose rash and impatient and insensitive. And he keeps doing things in this situation to inflame people and to make it bigger. And maybe he wants that to try to discredit the protesters. But I think there would be intelligent ways of approaching the situation as the leader that don't inflame this and make it a bigger thing, because he does have a messy situation in California that has to be dealt with now.
I saw someone make a point that usually when you see someone picking up a rock and they're throwing it at any kind of law enforcement, that they'll center their focus and get that person and make an example out of there's lines you don't cross even in the midst of a riot or whatever you want to call it. Uprising. They're not doing that. And someone said, could that be possibly because they're trying to take people's ability to vote away? if they become, if at some point in time they do start coming down on these folks, does that take your ability to vote the next time around if you have a felony, if you're caught on camera? Like the point was being made that they're being very like lax in places they're not usually lax. I wonder if the come down, the martial law, whatever is the ultimate show that they're getting ready to make with the National Guard, I wonder how much that sways or changes people's ability to vote in the future.
But I mean, the National Guard thing did not work for him. And I believe he tried to bring in the Marines, and that is not working for him. So you see the limit of him being able to call upon troops within the country. The American military is not supposed to function vis-a-vis American citizens, like they're not supposed to police American citizens on U.S. soil. So they understand that they are breaking the Constitution and breaking the law if they were to engage American citizens on U.S. soil. I don't know. I mean, I definitely see a lot of our brothers and sisters from Mexico saying enough, standing up and using their rights as American citizens to speak back to America. And they have every right to do so. And I am the last person who will discredit a protest for turning violent, because sometimes shit has to get violent for people to fucking pay attention. And sometimes a store I don't want to see people get attacked, but sometimes a cop car got to go. Sometimes a store got to get broken into just so the system knows we are fucking serious.
Malcolm X once said it. He said, he said the problem he saw with the nonviolent movement was that we're not talking the language of the oppressor. If you talk a completely different language to someone who speaks any other language and you're talking in your native language, he's not going to understand what you mean. But if the language is violence, if it's brutality, if that's what gets them to say, okay, this is how serious you are about that, perhaps the communication is a lot closer to where it needs to be. Not advocate for violence, but I'm saying that's the language.
Violence is being committed to. No, but violence is being committed to these people. So let me just put my perspective on there.
Right.
If my cousin just got kidnapped and trafficked as a U.S. citizen,
come on,
that's violent.
Yes,
I'm throwing a rock in your face. What are you talking about? Let go. He's from here. I don't care. We got to check his paper. This nigga is from. He lives off La Cienega. Nah, we're gonna take him. Like, that's what's happening. Let's not talk about people be trying to rationalize things with the political jargon and BS that they see on Fox News, CNN, and all this type of shit that I'm not even going to repeat. Let's talk about actual facts. Right. U.S. citizens being kidnapped and trafficked, just correctly as you said. I said wrongfully deported into kidnapped, trafficked, and exiled. Mm-hmm. Black U.S. citizens kidnapped, trafficked, exiled. Mexican American, any American citizen being trafficked and exiled. That people that are me, you, everybody. So this can happen to anybody because it already has. Let's stop talking in theoreticals when actual people who are citizens have been kidnapped.
They're targeting undocumented folks. This country has been all about embracing immigrants from around the world for decades and decades. And there's certainly stories of us being mean to immigrants, but officially we welcome them. And over time, they assimilate and become a valuable part of the country. Mm-hmm. And the idea that we have turned that on its head and immigrants are the big villains and we as a country need to root them out, even like drop a dime or a quarter, call somebody, because Curtis phone calls used to cost 10 cents. That's why we said
I remember that.
And we've made it this disgusting show of like arresting these people in horrific ways, so it shows up on the news and everybody's afraid. This runs counter to what America is all about. I'm in New York City. The Statue of Liberty is like right over there. Mm-hmm. Like we are supposed to be welcoming immigrants into this country. And yet we're freaking trying to chase down people who are tax-paying, non-criminal workers who are here raising families, trying to be part of America. I don't know what the fuck we're talking about.
Can I ask a question just in general? Because I have my own theories, but I definitely want to hear from you guys. Why do you think that they're making Latinos a face of this? Because there's Polish immigrants, there's Italian immigrants that I'm sure are Vietnamese. Why do you feel like? Because I feel like when I look at, and maybe that's because I have a little bit of biased television because it's in a city closest to me.
No, that's what they're doing.
All around, that's what it is, right?
To remain divisive. This is the real, because you said that's not what America's about, and that's the ideal America, but the real America is about that. It's about creating others, suppressing those people and creating others, and then allowing, once you come into the system and they want you to fight against another other, they move you up on a totem pole and start, hey, let's hate the Muslims now. Oh, no, we're hating the Latino. Every time they just redirect who to hate. It's going to be you at one time. You are going to be the person at one time, and that's what's going to happen. And plus, we talk about from New York City, 38% of New York City is immigrants. 38% of the city. So that entire city is that.
That's I'm not sure that means immigrants from outside of the country, right? That I think the New York stat, you're referring to immigrants who are
listen to this. Yeah. But here. Yeah. First of all, that concept of trying to separate what an immigrant is and when an immigrant is the actual issue we're facing right now.
No, because hold on. Don't go too far astray. My wife is an immigrant from Beirut. That's kind of what we're talking about. I'm a New York immigrant because I grew up in Boston and moved to, but that's not what we're talking about. But here's the thing.
I'm talking. No. We're talking about immigrants from other foreign countries. That's the percentage we're talking about.
The New York stat doesn't have anything to do with it. Let me get down to this. The immigration of brown people from Mexico and Central America has been one of the major political issues for 50 years. When it was Ronald Reagan, people were able to go back and forth across the border and it wasn't a big deal. Reagan changed it so you couldn't do that. So now suddenly people had to make a choice. And a lot of people chose to stay here. And you saw this, that the Latinos are the fastest rising demographic in America. And a lot of them are rising in big cities, but in the West, in the Midwest, but all over the country, obviously. But this has been a major political issue for 50 years because Democrats have been thinking, the rise of Latinos will create this majority country where black and brown people will come together to elect us. And the Republicans have been afraid that would happen. So they've been militating against that happening for 50 years. And the immigrants have been in the middle of it. And we have this horrific system by which an immigrant struggles to become a citizen, right? It's almost impossible, right? A few people get through it, but it's an incredibly difficult Byzantine system. So all these people are stuck in this middle ground, not really being citizens, but they live here and they pay taxes and they're part of our communities. So they become this political football. And Trump just amped that up to a fucking million. And we've seen in societies around the globe for a leader or a new leader to say, those others are bad. They're bringing crime. They're bringing drugs. That fucking works. Human beings respond to that.
Well, that's what the larger point that what I was saying is allowing the discussion to be like, we're trying to get rid of the criminals is a false concept, because what you're trying to do is signal nationalism and xenophobia, and you make an other, and then all people suffer when you do that, and that's what I mean. So an immigrant's an immigrant. If you're foreign born, you're an immigrant. If you got naturalized, if you became a citizen, that's what it is. You are a target as well. And what I'm trying to say and make it important, why I'm pushing back on all of this, is people who are U.S. citizens, foreign born or not, whatever, U.S. citizens are also at a threat. And we have to look at people who are immigrants as well as U.S. citizens and understand that the ICE situation is a problem. It's a threat to our democracy and our freedom. That's the point, that it's a threat to our democracy and our freedom in general as Americans. It's not their problem. It is our problem. And when we start looking at this as their problem or this minute thing, and we comfortable in our spaces until, like my girl's sister, she was sitting in her house with her daughter. This is just a black woman from Virginia. They barges into her house, says, "Do you know this man?" in her house saying, okay, we want to search your house. This is a black woman from Virginia.
When did this
and
happen?
she's like, 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. And and she lives in a predominantly, yes, this is just a Virginia-born black woman with a black daughter. So until it happens to you and happens at your door, you're gonna have we have these intellectual conversations about what it is. I know what this is. I've seen it too many times. I'm seeing it right here in real life. You're not allowed to go into somebody's door and start searching their house, and they have nothing to do with the fuck you're talking about. Oh, I want to find this guy. That's Gestapo. That's Nazi Germany. That's just the beginning of that. That's the beginning of that. So we have to look and speak to it as that. So until it happens to people anecdotally, they're not going to understand it. And when we see other people, because they created this existence of other, we look at that person and we're like, oh, that's a Latino person. Oh, that's a black person. But that black person's from Jamaica. Oh, that's an Italian person. Kaby Lame is a Senegalese Italian person who got.
To a certain extent, some people talk about America is really challenging people's ability to accept others, because most nations, there's a few nations, Brazil, maybe South Africa, I can think of a couple who have a wide variety of people there, right? But America has a wider variety of more different ethnicities in one country than anywhere else. That's part of the modern American project, right? That's the idea.
Yeah.
But it's hard for a lot of people, especially the dominant people, who feel that rise in diversity is taking something away from them. It's hard for them to accept that politically, to live comfortably with these other people. And they feel, there's a study I keep going back to out of Harvard, white people see race as a zero-sum game that they are losing. So all the rise of black, brown people, women, whatever, is a loss to straight white men. So they're fighting against that. And immigration becomes this core way that their white fragility is weaponized to say, like, aha, if only we get them out of the country, we'll have more jobs for Americans, we'll have fewer people speaking Spanish, we'll have less crime, we'll have less disease, it'll be great. And I'm like, yeah, but they aren't the cause of any of those things. So what the fuck are you talking about?
What I mean, I don't want to skip this is a great. I'm doing more listening. I'm really listening to both of y'all on this, but not to take it back to the other subject. But if ultimately this almighty AI is going to be the thing replacing jobs, how does this work in the major plan to replace everybody? In the process, you're taking on specific groups. Like, that's what I'm saying. I don't. That's the part that I'm trying to really understand.
If we want to move further, if you bring in that idea, and just to play advocate to that concept, if you are a white nationalist government, fascist government, which we presume maybe that's what we're in.
There, yeah.
You're looking at this immigrant population that you said you want to get out of there. You want to demonize and criminalize them, replace them with a population that of the lower class to do their jobs, and you're saying you don't need them because you want AI to take over that eventually. Because it's not a 1-year process of criminalizing all immigrants. That's going to be the entire term and his third term.
Well, we've been doing that work for 40 years. That work of criminalizing immigrants is old.
Wow. No. I'm actually, but this, can we not agree that this is exponential growth in the attack of them, like actual legislative and military attack on immigrants, right?
Yeah,
so that's where we're at now. If that just grows over time, it turns into eradication. Right? It turns into that. That means, and over time, you have AI able to replace these jobs. You go to the grocery store, there's 2 niggas working in 50,000 registers of self-checkout. No, niggas is not going to have jobs. And like I said, if your job is email, kiss your shit goodbye, nigga. Your shit's going to be gone. Like,
I mean, it's an interesting point because
you get replaced.
The immigrants, for the most part, the first generation immigrants are generally, unless you're coming as a child, you're generally not ever competing for the knowledge worker jobs that AI would be coming for. You'd be competing for service worker jobs that most Americans don't want to do. This is part of what we keep talking about in the immigration conversation, that they are not competing for jobs that most Americans want to do. So they are not taking away American jobs. And I read a lot about immigration a while ago, and part of what they pointed out is that every 4 or 5 workers added to a situation, they require a new manager. So if 4 people come in at an entry level, then they need to hire a new man, which would probably be a native born person who has a little bit more of the knowledge worker skills that we're talking about. So it's not, they're not taking away jobs. We don't want to be cleaning hotel rooms. We don't want to be washing dishes in restaurants. We don't want to be doing agricultural work. I don't know if folks live near a Home Depot, but you can drive by a Home Depot and see undocumented immigrants all the time sitting out there waiting to be chosen to go do construction work. These are all honorable things to do. No shade to that these are low-paying jobs that are generally very physical jobs, blue-collar jobs that most Americans don't want to do. So there's not a challenge to the American economy. And never forget that immigrants have a lower crime rate than natural-born citizens. There is no city where immigrants have moved in and taken over. So, like, you know, the demonization of immigrants, there's never any there, but it still works in multiple countries throughout history.
And I asked that, and I'm listening to you now. I'm asking that because I wonder if that's also part of that plan to make room for some of this technology that has some AI to it, right? For instance, I saw you talking about some of these jobs that, you know, most Americans don't want to take. If you're talking about even like cleaning of the restrooms and jobs in that position, they already have the machines that are sanitizing and overlooking and seeing these things. Even in terms of landscaping, I'm seeing these machines that have been set up to know the perimeters and know the borders of what this person is living in. Like it seems like this
could get
even the fast food jobs. Like I remember during the pandemic, that was the first thing that came to mind when I saw
robots at McDonald's.
Fam, when I saw that, they got us in a place where we as human beings didn't want to be next to human beings too closely because of the risk of COVID. Now it's to the point where you're actually encouraging these machine kiosks, push the button and get your food. It never has to touch a human hand. All of this just feels like
contactless delivery.
Unpacked. All of this feels like a plan that was already set in motion long ago.
But let me just, because there's people in the comments, it's like generally saying immigrants, because there's a plethora of different type of goods. Generally saying immigrants doing this type of job, that's not true, because a lot of times, you know, what's projected is that a lot of jobs where you're managing the AI to do the work that a lot of these middle class jobs are going to be are actually immigrants. There's a lot of Asian Americans and immigrants who are coming.
That's a little bit different. It's a little different.
No, I'm saying to use the whole thing as immigrants and doing this type of job is saying the word immigrant and does this type of job. There's a plethora of different people in the whole moniker of immigrant is what I'm trying to say. Just the word immigrant, you can't say, be like, oh yeah, so someone who's not from here would probably do this job. They're specifically going at Hispanic people, Mexican Americans, Latino people. So I want to be clear on, like, that's the people that they're trying to demonize. Obviously. So it's not just the word immigrant in general. That's all I wanted to put out there.
Yeah.
It took me a while to
I was just giving an example of where my brain is going as I'm listening to both.
I just saw a lot of people saying that shit, so I just wanted to.
I mean, you know, they've been caught in the political crossfire in a period when, between, let's say, 1984 and let's say 2004. In 84, Dems and Republicans could talk, could work together, could create some bipartisan legislation. By 2004, that is impossible. Could never happen. You can't even talk to the other side at all, or you would lose your seat. So now within that period, we go from, hey, it's okay to cross the border seasonally, to no, that's not okay. And you have to choose which side. And if you want to immigrate, it's kind of a big deal. And so then what are we supposed to do with the several million people in the country who were caught in the country when we said you can't go back and forth anymore? And we started to make proposals. And in the 90s, it was like, maybe we can get this done. In the 2000s, in the early 2000s, like maybe we can get this done. And then we start to see it's impossible to get that done. That's impossible. The way that the political situation is in DC, it's like we have this big problem, but we cannot solve this. So there's millions of people who are in this political limbo who would like to become naturalized citizens, and we're like, well, here you have a sanctuary city, and here you can have a driver's license, but here you can't. Right, and like here you might get deported, but here you probably won't. So there's a whole just patchwork, and you can't travel because you may not be let back. Right, there's all these different ways, and it definitely makes them and us unsafe to have undocumented people in our communities, not because they are a danger, but because if they get into a car accident, they don't want to see the police. So they're more likely to say, I need to leave because otherwise I'm going to get deported. So that doesn't make us safer, right? And there's all sorts of ways that things could happen that would just naturally happen to any citizen, that they're like, but I can't access the local government because I might get deported. That makes us all less safe.
Can we add on top of that the maniacs that are out here that are helping the cause, even though they're not employed by any of these entities? I'm watching people on social media who are getting angry at a cashier or angry at someone and saying, I'm going to report you because you treat like weaponizing it. And then to your point earlier, Green, sometimes I'm seeing like our folks are doing stuff like that. And I'm like, we can't think that we so detached from the situation that it can't, like you said, it can't happen to like the lady that you're talking about, the lady in Virginia. It's unfortunate. And then folks now, it's heightened now more than any other generation because of these phones. The fact that you can sit here and record someone and you could have that go viral. I'm watching so many things that are popping up. And that's another reason why I'll be wanting to stay away from Twitter. They give me nothing but opposing views who are like, yeah, this shouldn't be happening. And I'm like, this is crazy.
Because you like it. Low key, you like it. And it knows you like it. So you're like, you get heated looking at it. And it's like, he's going to watch another one of these shits. He's going to get mad until you comment about it.
Facebook did that to me. I thought everybody was dying, but really what it was that I would engage more with a post where I'm like, oh, that's unfortunate. Who is this? And I'm looking at the comments, trying to figure if I know this person. And they started serving that up my algorithm. Every day somebody was dying. I said, I don't even know who this person is, but rest in peace.
That's what the algorithm will do with you. And that's the other issue is like amplified voices of stupidity and ignorance. Yeah. If they're consistent, they can create a following of other stupid, ignorant echo chambers, and they'll say dumb shit that are reflecting what that lady is, taking a video of this woman at a cash register saying, we should deport them. And it's like, you're from freaking another country. Like your mom is from another country and you're looking at deport this person. It's like, you're not understanding what you're saying. Like the idea of it being an immigrant problem is actually the issue. You thinking that we have an immigrant problem is something that was programmed into you. It's a concept that was given to you over time. And there is no immigrant problem. That is a political tool and device to divide you. We don't have a problem.
That's right. A country is going to be healthy when more people are coming into it and the amount of tax revenue it's collecting is rising rather than people wanting to leave and the tax revenue falling. The notion that immigrants are damaging to our culture is bizarre and not accurate.
It's just racist. It's just that's all that is. Let's call it what it is. It's white supremacist racism, white nationalism.
The other thing we got to just remember is that for a long time, people on the left, including myself, thought, oh, Latinos, as they grow in population, they will become this major political force for the Democratic Party because most of my political decisions are filtered through I'm a black man in America. A lot of Latinos don't look at it like that. Some do start their political conversation with I'm Latino, but many of them don't. Many of them actively want to assimilate into whiteness or have other ideas like religion or the economy that go before being Latino, their identity. They also come from a wide variety of countries. So they have different political issues relating to what countries they come from. So they are not a singular block that is like seeing the racism on the right and voting on the left. Not at all.
That was always weird to me.
And a lot of them are going with the Republican Party. So this is played out to be something entirely different than we thought in politics it would be for 30 years.
Did you think that this event and the things that are getting ready to happen, I'm sure for the next X amount of months, strengthens the base that they already have in the Republican Party?
No, I think that we saw Trump's weakness here. That we punched the bully in the face, and we thought you would have thought, well, if you punch him in the face, he's going to drop a nuclear bomb on you, because he always his whole thing is I punch back 10 times harder. I don't think he's punched back 10 times harder. I think we've seen like, oh, we reached the limit of your power, B, when you were like, call 2,000 National Guards, which like that's nothing, and nobody showed up. That is the most incredible fucking thing. So that gives me hope that we can come together as a community, be it LA or New York, wherever it is, and make a lot of noise and sort of politically punch him in the face and let him know, like, you can't just do anything to Americans. We just don't come and fucking be rolled over.
Yeah, it's nasty.
The people have to do something, and that's what happened in LA. The people did something. Like the actual people on the ground defended themselves against a tyrannical concept and idea, and that's what happened. But I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. The divisiveness is the issue, but
niggas die every day, B.
Niggas die every day, B.
Yeah.
We definitely out. But speaking of the Latino thing and the Democrats thing, that was always weird to me, because the three of us plus a random white person could all be from Brazil in phenotype and what we look like, or could all be from one of these Colombia. They're many different looking people.
Yeah, no,
they have their
Brazil,
own shit.
Brazil in particular has a very wide variety.
Colombia
of
as well.
Phenotypes.
Ecuador, Colombia, Panama.
But most countries in the world don't have that. America.
Yeah, but I'm talking about Latinos in general. We are unique, but I'm saying Latinos are not one thing, and that was our issue. That's the issue. Latinos are not one thing.
Yeah, they're coming from many countries. Yes, they're like many different issues. They have many different. Some come from dictatorships and vote like that, and some come from democracies and vote based on that. Like we are learning rapidly that they are not coming en masse to the Democratic Party. So changes must be made.
I was going to say rest in peace to Sly Stone. I just saw that pop up.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, he was my favorite.
R.I.P. R.I.P. I guess we're going to leave on that note. R.I.P. to Sly Stone. Thank y'all for watching. See y'all next Monday. Rap Latte, we are out.